Sports Tonight with Fred and Vince, 11 Eastern on CNN.
Tonight, big losses for gambling in the Bible Belt. Alabama scratches a state lottery, and South Carolina pulls the plug on video gaming. Are these states missing out on sure bet ways to raise money?
Live from Washington, Crossfire. On the left, Bill Press. On the right, Mary Madeline. In the Crossfire, in Atlanta, Rebecca Paul, President and CEO of the Georgia Lottery Corporation. And in Montgomery, Alabama, John Giles, Director of the Alabama Christian Coalition.
Good evening and welcome to Crossfire. Alabama voters left the political establishment reeling this week, soundly rejecting a state lottery 54 to 46%. And the South Carolina Supreme Court pulled the plug on the state's 34,000 video poker machines, called the crack cocaine of gambling by its opponents. 10 years ago, gambling was legal in only 2 states. Today, only 3 prohibit it and 37 hold lotteries. State-sponsored gambling exploded in popularity when gubernatorial candidates, including Alabama's, knocked off their anti-gambling opponents on a promise of improving education without raising taxes through astounding revenue streams from lotteries. But are the lotteries painless taxation? Do gambling revenues truly fund state education? And does the good end, improving education, justify the bad means, encouraging public vice? Bill?
Mr. Giles, good evening. Thanks for joining us on Crossfire.
Well, thank you, and welcome to Alabama, the new home of Mercedes-Benz and Honda Motor Company.
Well, we're there by satellite at any rate.
Yes.
I don't know whether we're in Alabama or you're in Washington, D.C. At any rate, let's get on with the 37 states, plus the District of Columbia, plus Puerto Rico, plus the Virgin Islands have a lottery. Residents in those states, they don't have to play if they don't want to, but if they want to play, they can. Why shouldn't the residents of Alabama have the same choice?
Well, I think what we need to look at, I'm a former manufacturer and a businessman and economic developer, and we all know that economic development, economic prosperity, capital investment, and new jobs created and a quality education system are inseparable. This vote on Tuesday was not about improving education because we all want to see our education system improved. It was not about our children because we all love our children and want to see them reach their maximum potential in life. What this vote was about in October the 12th here in Montgomery, Alabama, or throughout the state, was is gambling and the lottery good public policy or poor public policy? And our voters resoundingly decided that it was poor public policy.
Well, you still have dog racing in Alabama. You still have bingo in Alabama. Why not the lottery, too? I mean, you guys are not as pure as you pretend to be.
Well, you see, our concern is that this lottery was not going to be like the Georgia lottery. That's the reason I had hoped that we would get someone from Alabama to discuss the pro-lottery side. But Alabama is not going to be like Georgia if this amendment were to go through. You see, in Georgia, they do not have any federally recognized tribes in Georgia. We have recognized tribes here in Alabama, and of course, once you penetrate the veil of Class 3 gambling, what's legal in the state is also legal on the reservations. And of course, Class 3 gambling does include the lotteries. And of course, the chief of the Poach Indians here in Alabama said that 1 year after we repeal the lottery prohibition out of the Alabama Constitution, we would have casinos in the state of Alabama, and we're all very much concerned about that.
Well, Mr. Giles, I'm not sure your hearing device there is working. I didn't ask you anything at all about Georgia. I mean, I simply asked the question, and what I'd like to know is, why shouldn't the voters in Alabama have a choice to take a chance? What's wrong with that?
Well, 8 out of 10 Americans gamble right now anyway, but actually when you have it more accessible, you're a pathological gambler, you will have an increase in pathological gamblers. That's a known fact. And of course, the National Gambling Impact Study cites that.
Ms. Paul, as fortuity would have it, I was in Alabama last night with 1,200 business leaders, as well as the governor and the lieutenant governor, so I got it firsthand, the debate on this very controversial issue there, beat back by the voters. Here's what the lieutenant governor, Steve Windham, had to say about this issue.
The job of government, and again, this is government-sponsored gambling, the job of government, as I see it, is to give the poor a hand up, not to enslave the poor with a very, very regressive form of taxation, which is what the lottery is.
This is what I heard so much last night, Ms. Paul. This is a regressive tax. 5% of the lottery sales are, 51% of the lottery sales are bought by 5% of the people. It's disproportionately poor, disproportionately minority. 4 times as many black people per capita as white people purchase lottery tickets. Is this good public policy?
Well, I certainly think the citizens of Georgia think it's good public policy, as does our governor, as does our General Assembly. Last year in Georgia, we raised $646 million for the programs that we fund. Our lottery began in 1993. Since then, $3.2 billion has gone to the specific education programs funded here in Georgia. 400,000 Hope scholarships, tuition, books, and fees have gone to Georgia students. 98% of the Georgia freshmen at the University of Georgia are there on lottery-funded scholarships. 300,000 four-year-olds have gone to lottery-funded pre-kindergarten programs. Those students, when they finish the first grade, have tested not only higher than the Georgia average, but higher than the national average on Iowa basic skills tests.
All right, I'm asking you again, Ms. Paul, if a regressive tax is good public policies by your own numbers, and those are impressive, but the question is, who is paying for this? Let me throw out some statistics. For every $250 per capita that you sell in poor neighborhoods, you sell less than $100 worth of lottery tickets in affluent neighborhoods. And the income of the average Georgia scholarship recipient is $13,000 higher than the state average income. That means, in short, that poor children, the families of poor children, are subsidizing the education of middle-class kids.
Well, there are a couple of issues. First of all, you asked me if it was a regressive tax. It's not a tax. Taxes are not voluntary. Secondly, you're quoting statistics about where people buy tickets, not necessarily where they live. The vast majority of people in Georgia, anyway, buy their tickets on their way to work, at the place they work, not necessarily in the neighborhoods where they live. So the statistics you're quoting about where people live versus where they buy their tickets may not be specifically accurate.
Or how about if it's not a regressive tax? Isn't it a stupid tax? It's 14 million to 1 that you're going to win. You're 7 times more likely to get killed by lightning this year. And if it's not a stupid tax, it's a displacing tax. Revenues collected through lotteries displace other taxes. It's a zero-sum game. People are spending their milk money, thereby foregoing the sales tax on lottery tickets.
Well, first of all, you keep calling it a tax. It's not a tax. Taxes aren't voluntary. Buying lottery tickets are voluntary. Secondly, there has been no indication in Georgia that any tax revenues have gone down with sales of lottery tickets across the state of Georgia.
Mr. Giles, I want to come back, John, to some of the things that Rebecca talked about there, that the big winners, at least we can see in the state of Georgia, are schools, and less so, of course, without a lottery in the state of Alabama. Mary played a quote from your lieutenant governor. Let's hear what your governor had to say about Alabama kids versus Georgia kids.
The kids in Georgia can go to pre-kindergarten for free. Our kids can't. Thanks to the Georgia lottery and Alabama dollars, the kids in Georgia have state-of-the-art computers in their schools, and our schools don't.
Aren't you shortchanging your kids in Alabama, John?
Well, you see, we have all along said that this is an economic and a social concern. The arithmetic in this proposal... The arithmetic in this program did not resonate with the people of this state. First of all, government will spend $13,200 a year on pathological gamblers. In Georgia, they have about 17,000 pathological gamblers. And of course, as a result of that, it may not be a direct appropriation, but they will spend somewhere between $200 and $220 million a year on social costs tied to addiction-related cases. Now, in Alabama, you invert those numbers. Hang with me just for a minute. You invert those numbers in Alabama, we will spend $95 million in Alabama on Department of Human Resource lottery-related addiction problems. Another concern that we had was...
Let me ask you, pardon me, can I interrupt you? Let me please ask you to try to listen to my question and answer my question. Okay? The lottery was expected to bring $150 million into Alabama schools. Alabama now spends less money per kid than any of the 50 states in this union. You killed the lottery. So what is your alternative plan for coming up with the money you need for schools?
Well, I need to, first of all, address the $150 million, if I may. We were going to remove $450 million, gross dollars, out of the Alabama economy, untaxed, and put it over into this lottery education fund, which would have reduced our education fund by $35 million. So you take the $35 million and the $95 million from DHR, you're looking at a net of somewhere around the neighborhood of $130 million. This was the proposal from the governor's plan to have $130 to $150 million worth of net money to apply to education. So we are very concerned about that. Now, in the state of Alabama, let me just help you out here, corporate income tax and personal income tax and sales and use tax directly impact our special education trust fund. Our growth in the economy in Alabama has gone up for years. We have a net increase in our education trust fund of about $200 million a year.
All right, so what you're saying...
I got one other point.
Quickly, please.
And that is that our education trust fund right now has about $200 million worth of non-educational programs to it. So before we ever start talking about raising taxes or imposing a lottery and bringing a regressive tax on the poor, we've got about $200 to $400 million that we can use in our education system in the state of Alabama.
So you're not willing to raise taxes now to pay for education. You got neither the lottery nor higher taxes, right? So you
well, and I'll tell you, a disproportionate number of our congressional members also want to see the United States Department of Education move block grants to the state so that we can move that money directly to the classroom where the teacher knows the name of our students and our children rather than some bureaucracy in Washington and D.C. So there's a lot of opportunity to move money towards education without raising taxes and without putting a regressive tax on the poor and infesting their society with gambling, which the National Gambling Impact Study clearly outlines is an erosion to our society.
Both of you, please. We're going to have to take a break. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about when we come back, so we'll just roll the dice and see what happens.
Oh.
Another successful reunion brought to you by 1-800-US-SEARCH.
First guy I met when I got into the battalion was Charlie. 1957, we came back to get off the boat. It was the last time I saw him.
1-800-US-SEARCH. Locate a long-lost friend or family member.
Sure be glad to see him.
He's got bigger, huh?
Who do you want to find? Find anyone right now. Call 1-800-US-SEARCH.
Relax your body. Free your mind and soothe your spirit. Enter your own quiet world. Presenting Quiet Moods, your escape to a relaxing world. Quiet Moods, the most beautiful music ever recorded. Quiet Moods, more than 3 full hours of music that will lift you up and soothe your spirit on 3 CDs or cassettes. Quiet Moods will work for you. We guarantee it. Discover the soothing world of Quiet Moods. Here's how to order.
To order Quiet Moods, call 1-800-306-5300. That's 1-800-306-5300. Or send $24.99 for 3 cassettes or 3 CDs, plus $4.95 shipping and handling to Quiet Moods, P.O. Box 2919, Atlanta, Georgia 30301. News Hour. Weeknight 6:30 Eastern. You are what you know.
Welcome back to Crossfire. Alabamans voted down a state lottery, but at least they got to vote. In South Carolina, the Supreme Court struck down a referendum on video poker games before it even hit the ballot. In both states, opposition was led by church groups. So what's going on? Are churches dictating public policy? We debate the theology of gambling tonight, among other subjects, with John Giles, director of the Alabama chapter of the Christian Coalition, joins us from Montgomery, and Rebecca Paul, president of the Georgia State Lottery in Atlanta. Mary?
Ms. Paul, I just can't let go of this tax issue because it's an important one. You say it's not a tax, but the reason I call it a tax, and our other guest did, and the governor did, and even Bill did, is because state governments treat it like a tax. They're saying we're not going to raise taxes because we're going to get the revenue here. It's treated like a tax, and state funds are fungible. And what we've seen in other states, and was an issue in this Alabama case, is that there's nothing to prevent the state, once it is in possession of these funds, to divert them to other funds, not just education, or to create whole new programs. Speak to that issue that the people just didn't trust in this case by overwhelming margins, that the government was going to keep, put in the first place, or keep in an education fund the monies raised from the lottery.
Well, what is the case in Georgia is it's actually written into the Georgia Constitution. So in order for the government of Georgia to divert Georgia lottery funds from Hope scholarships, pre-kindergarten programs, and computer technology, they'd have to take it back to a vote of the people to divert it to anything else other than the 3 programs we fund. So at least in Georgia, the protection is actually in the Constitution.
Okay, all right. This is what we call budget gimmickry. We're very familiar with it here in our nation's capital. So these are not funds that are added to existing education funds. You just move those other funds out, the first funds out in the first place. It's fungible. They're taxes, and it's a regressive tax.
But certainly not the case in Georgia. The Georgia education budget prior to the passage of the lottery was about 52% of the general revenue funds. Since the lottery's passed, education gets 54% of the general revenue funds, and that doesn't count any lottery dollars. No lottery dollars go to general education funding. They only go to college scholarships, pre-kindergarten programs, and computer technology. They have not become replacement dollars. Education's got more money from general revenue since the lottery than they got from general revenue before the lottery, and that doesn't count the $3.2 billion that's come from lottery dollars. So that's just not the case in Georgia, Mary.
Let me, if we can get off Georgia for a moment and just broaden this out. Gambling is, and lotteries in particular, are get rich quick schemes. They're get something for nothing dreams. Is this something that the government should be sponsoring and sanctioning, as opposed to what made this country strong in the first place? Hard work, perseverance, saving.
Well, George Washington's army was funded with dollars raised by a lottery. Harvard, Yale, and Princeton were all built with dollars raised by a lottery. But whether or not the government should do that, and whether or not that's good public policy, I believe should be a decision by the voters of that individual state. Georgia's voters won a lottery and are very, very happy with it. Alabama's voters, or at least those who voted in the special election on Tuesday, didn't want a lottery. They don't have one. The latest Gallup poll that was done last June showed that lottery approval rating across the nation was at 75%. So the vast majority of citizens of the United States think a lottery is an appropriate way to raise funds.
John Giles, what do you think about that? What do you think our founding fathers would have thought about a lottery?
Well, it's strange that you bring that up because an AP reporter here in Alabama did a story about Phoenix City, which you might remember that Attorney General-elect Patterson was gunned down on the streets by the gambling folks over there, and they completely removed all gambling and the lotteries out of the state of Alabama. And this reporter said there's one common denominator among lotteries. First of all, they became legalized in the 19th century. They were run by crooks in the 20th century. Now, this is his article, not my article. And he said that there's one common denominator, and that is that the people got angry, the public got angry, and they kicked them out. So it's only a matter of time before this will recycle again.
Well, actually, I was talking about the 18th century and the Founding Fathers. Here's what Thomas Jefferson, by the way, did have to say about a lottery. I think Mr. Jefferson, as usual, makes eminent sense. Quote, "The lottery is a wonderful thing. It taxes only the willing." Again, isn't that the point? If you don't like it, don't play. Isn't that the American way?
Well, and then, of course, now that we're citing history, you know, you don't have to go any further than John Jay, our first Chief of the Justice of the Supreme Court, and he ruled and gave an opinion and mentioned that, that the lottery is no way for states to depend on stable revenue because it infects every hamlet and every village. So there is some contrary there. That, you know, our vote on Tuesday was, is this good public policy or is it bad public policy? Yeah. And the people of this state voted it down. The people of the state of Oklahoma voted it down. 30 days out.
Okay, we're almost out of time, so I want to move on to ask you. One thing
Sure.
that surprised me, I guess, about this vote in Alabama is the opposition of the church groups. I mean, do you really believe that gambling is immoral, number one? And two, if it is, are you saying that the people in 37 states who buy lottery tickets are all immoral?
This vote in Alabama, voting no against the lottery, cut across partisan lines. It was not a Democrat issue. It was not a Republican issue. 1/3 of the Republicans voted for the lottery. 1/3 of the Democrats voted against the lottery. This cut across racial lines. It cut across denominational lines. It cut across socioeconomic lines. This was the greatest outcry of support that we have seen in any one given election period. We had people making homemade signs out of plastic paper, plastic bags, and putting masking tape on there saying no lottery and taping them to highway signs. It was a grassroots across this state, and churches got involved in it. And the people of this state just really, after reviewing all the facts, decided that this was poor public policy. $11 million had been out there to promote this concept,
all right, just
to promote all the benefits of it.
Final question here from Mary.
Sure. And hoping, Ms. Paul, that I could quote one of our founders or bash some churches here, but let me just quote the nonpartisan appointed by the President and Congress, nonpartisan independent National Gambling Impact Study Commission, which said, and I quote, "States with lotteries should reduce their sales dependence on low-income neighborhoods and heavy players in a variety of ways." This is what the nonpartisan presidentially appointed commission has said. Let's take a pause and let's in fact retrench on lotteries so we can see what the effect on society is. What's wrong with a pause?
A pause were their words that maybe any state looking at whether or not they want to do that might want to take that into account. But again, it's a states' rights issue. Each state has the right to determine whether or not they want a lottery. It's worked in Georgia. Georgia citizens want it. It's worked in 37 states. Citizens in 37 states want it. And Bill, a minute ago you said citizens played in 37 states. They play everywhere. We got 100 million last year from Alabama.
And we have no time left. No, none of that, Bill Press, till we get back. No opining till we get back. Thank you in Alabama. Thank you in Georgia. We'll be right back.
Billy Blank's Tae-Bo is the hottest workout in America because millions of people have discovered they can get fit, lose weight, have fun, and be strong. And you can too.
Focus. You gotta focus. Raise your eye.
Get the original advanced Tae-Bo workout and a free sneak preview of the electrifying new Tae-Bo Live. On sale now at these fine stores.
You know you need life insurance to protect the family you love. We know the way things go, it's hard to find the money to pay the premiums. You know you've got to do it, and we know we can help you. To protect your family's future security, many financial advisors recommend insurance coverage equal to 5 times your annual income. Wait, before you say, "I can't afford that," look into this money-saving offer from Garden State Life Insurance. If you're in good health and don't smoke cigarettes, Garden State Life can offer you quality term life insurance that may save you as much as 50% off what you're paying for term life insurance protection. Garden State Life guarantees your premiums remain the same for 8, 10, even 20 years to come. So if you need $25,000 to $1 million or more of quality life insurance protection,
call today 800-306-5300 for this free information package and confidential coverage proposal. Garden State Life Insurance, 800-306-5300, toll free 306-5300.
Get the world and business news you need to get a jump on your day.
Good morning.
Quick, smart, comprehensive. Stay ahead of the curve. weekday mornings from 5 to 7 Eastern on CNN.
Mary, you know what's so stupid about this vote? The people from Alabama are still going to buy lottery tickets. They'll just go across the state line to Georgia like they've been doing and helping the schools in Georgia rather than the schools in Alabama. Stupid. But Mary, I've been feeling sorry for you. I want you to know, here it is. A lottery ticket, Powerball for you, $34 million. It's yours. But
Well,
when you win, you have to split it with me.
It's a stupid tax. First, I'm not calling you stupid, but I am calling you from another planet. These are your issues. It's a regressive tax. It's shameless exploitation of the poor. You know who's going to be crossing over the border? Poor people and black people.
Yeah.
There are 2.5 million pathological gamblers in this country. And you know what happens? Divorce, bankruptcy, welfare, child abuse. Domestic violence. These are your issues. You're promoting them.
I just happen to believe. Wait. I happen to believe that poor people can think for themselves and that rich people shouldn't tell poor people what's good for them. From the left, I'm Bill Press, winner. Good night for Crossfire.
Stupid tax. From the right, I'm Mary Madeline. Join us again next week for another edition of Crossfire.
Century's most memorable and beautiful songs. Performed by international pianist Enrique Chia. Cheers to the Years, a 2-volume set of your favorite all-time melodies. The piano of Enrique Chia will bring back unforgettable memories. Of Enrique Chia's fabulous piano collection. To order, call 1-800-306-5300 and get 2 CDs for $26.95 or 2 cassettes for $19.95. Call now.
On the next millennium, the 12th century, in Italy, rival city-states create a new urban landscape. In Northern Europe, great builders reach for the heavens, raising monuments to God. Africans carve churches out of solid rock, while in America, nomadic tribes forge a civilization from the desert. 1,000 years of history in the landmark series, Millennium, Sunday, 10 Eastern on CNN.
Weeknights. Wolf Blitzer, Joey Chen, Jim Ray, The World Today. Weeknights, 8 Eastern on CNN.
It's only a little scratch.
What you need is GS27 Scratch Remover. GS27 gets rid of those surface scratches and paint swirls quickly and easily. Simply rub it into the scratch, then polish to a beautiful finish. The scratch is gone. GS27 is only $14.95. But order now and get a second tube for only $5. That's 2 for just $19.95.
To order, call 1-800-816-1717. That's 1-800-816-1717.
What will the credit card of the future look like?
The future?
Think of the possibilities.
The world's changing.
We'll need a card that can change with it.
What will a credit card look like that has an introductory rate of 0% and then a fixed rate as low as 9.99%?
Definitely not like anything in my wallet.
That has no annual fee and gives you the flexibility to pay over time.
So, I'll be able to extend the payments on my new
lunar vacation?
What will a credit card look like that provides guaranteed protection from online fraud?
I don't know.
But I think it has my name on it.
A card with a built-in smart chip to give it ever-evolving capabilities.
A credit card
with a brain?
That makes other credit cards seem so...
20th century.
Actually, it'll look like this. Introducing Blue from American Express, a whole new kind of credit card.
We really do live in an interesting time.
To apply, call 1-800-BLUE-600.
I have seen the future.
And it fits in my wallet.
Stars Cabaret. Elegance. Style.
stars in the heavens and a lot of heaven and stars.